Our next speaker is Ray Coppinger, Professor of Biology.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not yet. You know, I don't know how many of you realize what terror it is to get up here in front of all your old students and their parents and trustees and everything else. I've thought about it all week, and as the week has gone on, I've got more and more terrified. Some strange things happen. You find out that you put all kinds of things off in the final days, so that when I finally came to get dressed in the morning and look for the pair of clean socks and so forth, I realized that my preparation for the speech had not been complete. Plus the fact that I didn't know what to talk about, which I might add is rare for me. As I approached the green lawns of Hampshire College, I met my old friend Merle Bruno, who said, "How do you feel?" And I said, "I'm terrified." She says, "You look it." Anyway, the little scenario slowly drifted into my head of what possibly could happen, you know, and so forth. You could approach the stand and so forth, and all of a sudden feel that crush of pain in your chest and drop to the podium floor. I did a survey, and there are at least 6 heart surgeons out there, and 2 of them have a stethoscope in their pockets. And they would come up and they would undo your robe and they would slide it underneath and they would listen for a minute, and then they would announce to the audience, "Aha, dirty underwear." For most of the you're not helping. We try to convince you that this is a day of great celebration. Actually, this is a day of great relief. The people who designed Hampshire College years ago really find it a great relief to see the first class graduating. For the faculty, it's great relief that another whirlwind year is over. Let me just tell you that it's more of a relief when a year is over now than when I was a student. And for the students, it's a time when all things seem to be done. For the parents, it's great relief that you finally made it. Some of them worked a score of years to get you to this day. I can remember my own mother looking up to me with tears in her eyes and saying, "Well, dear, we made it." My father kept saying, "How does it feel to be on your own?" Commencement means the beginning. For some of you graduates sitting there, that's not quite true. You haven't finished. And I would like to use this opportunity to make a few announcements. Emily, you still haven't got my books back. And you're not going to get your diploma until you do. Gordy, I'm still not happy with your Division II evaluation. I think you better be in my office tomorrow morning and we'll look it over again. Ellen, the rats in the animal room are ripening fast. Many of my fellow faculty members wanted me to do a report. By the way, whenever you ask anybody to help you with one of these speeches, it's a mistake. But for their benefit in reviewing the year, I wrote the paragraph that says, "We've just got through a year of tough evaluations at Hampshire College, which has caused stresses at every level. the faculty disagreed with the administration, accusing them of creating a technocracy. The administration railed that the faculty were creating an unworkable system. The staff wailed. Railed and wailed. That was my wife's. The staff wailed that they got no recognition from either faculty or administration in their efforts to build this college. The buildings and grounds crew are not looking forward to cleaning your rooms. The dormitories need some repairs after you lovely people have been through. The bookstore faces bankruptcy partly because some students won't buy books and insists on ripping them, as the saying goes, off. Some people wanted me to mention financial difficulties here at Hampshire College. So I did a survey. And my survey shows that social science is one of the hardest hit in this respect, with a year-end deficit of $15 in their coffee fund. In fact, the total coffee deficit across the college runs into the neighborhood of $36. Some of you parents might wonder what this little pocket is that goes down in the back of the hood. So that's for the coffee contribution fund. But Hampshire has some strong points, which has emerged in the last 4 years. In the beginning, we felt like lost sailors in strange ports, experiencing that uneasy sensation where none of the values that we'd been taught or brought up with seemed to apply. Nor, like those sailors, did we want them to apply. To our surprise and delight, the whole of Hampshire College provided a kind of a foreign studies program. Strange new systems, questions with no answers, and sometimes answers with no questions. It required intense concentration from all of us in order to understand what was going on. Parents, you are especially to be commended in this respect, for at least you were able to surmount your apprehensions and anxieties at having allowed your children to travel to this strange place. What about those grumblings and infightings and the financial risks and so forth we've run in the last 4 years? The captain of my ship once told me that when the crew is grumbling, everything is all right. It's when the crew becomes silent that it's time to strap the gun on. My own observations aboard a ship pointed out to the fact that when it comes to interpersonal tensions, it runs highest when the sea is quiet. And when there was a storm blowing, we all seemed to get along fine. Well, the storm continues, but we'll welcome it here at Hampshire College. We have all maintained and even increased our educational standards while changing our values and developing new loyalties. Lorna, you got the page numbers wrong. I think for you graduates, that even with 4 schools here at Hampshire, numerous academic programs, extracurricular activities, an outdoor program, a bubble, co-ed dorms, that we really haven't taught you the lessons that you will need in the next few years. Many of us have been extremely remiss in spending so many hours with you, trying to teach you how to lead better lives, while overextending our lives in the process. It's kind of a hypocritical situation. Elmer Beale of the College of the Atlantic, a laconic friend of mine with hyperactive tendencies, refuses to teach more than half-time because he feels that the house he's building, the children he and his wife are raising, the vegetables that they are growing, the thoughts that they are feeling, while pursuing these survival activities, is a major part of life. You can't teach someone to lead a better life by working overtime. Many of you graduates have fine relationships with the essentials of life. Don't ever let the non-essentials, the nitty-gritty, take over as your responsibilities increase. Our culture has taken us far from the need to think often and seriously about things like food and shelter. Progress has put an incredible economic system between Americans and the basics of survival. We pay attention to and spend money indiscriminately on things of little real value. Last month, the head of the Federal Reserve System, Arthur Byrne, was reflecting on the coming recession and spoke out on the need for Americans to stop and analyze their value systems. You know, I graduated during a recession. It was great. It was, I guess it was a depression. I'm not sure if it was a depression or recession. Nobody ever defined that for me. That was in the years of the Eisenhower dolls. Remember those? You wound the doll up and it didn't do anything? So I can empathize a little bit with you. But anyway, my generation has experienced a good 3 decades of fluffy quantity. To a large extent, we blew it, as far as natural resources and truly a good life went. A few clear-headed people have managed to keep some of the threads of reality spinning, and we are betting that you can do a much better job at raising the quality of life, not only in this country, but maybe that whole tenuous world. Thank you.